This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the HTC Wildfire S for T-Mobile in the US. This is a budget Android phone that's good for folks who are looking for their first Android phone, something that doesn't cost a lot of money, or for those of you who hate large phones. As you can see, relative to my hand size, I have pretty big hands. This is a small phone. I'll compare it to the HTC Sensation 4G, also available on T-Mobile, so you get an idea of just how small it is. Really small, right? So if you despise the idea of these 4.3-inch giant phones that are pretty trendy right now, or just don't want to spend the money for a phone like that, HTC's answer is the Wildfire S. Now on T-Mobile, this competes really most directly with the Samsung Exhibit 4G. That costs a bit more money. Right now online, the Exhibit is $99 with contract or $299 without contract. This is $279 with no contract whatsoever, and is free online or $79 in T-Mobile stores. So if you're going to buy from a store, there's only $20 difference between this and the Exhibit, but if you're buying it online from T-Mobile directly, there's obviously a $99 difference, and then this becomes more attractive. Otherwise, the Exhibit has better specs. It is a bit larger, it's not a huge phone, but it does have a higher resolution display, a faster CPU, and 4G versus 3G, so keep that in mind. But then again, this is a smaller phone, it's cute, and if you like the HTC custom software, which is also very newbie friendly, the Wildfire has that going for it. This is a 3.2-inch display. It is half VGA, which is 480 by 320, which a couple of years ago was the standard for Android phones, going back to the T-Mobile G1, but nowadays most of them are running at 800 by 480 like the Exhibit, or sometimes even higher like the Sensation when you get into the very high-end phones. It has a 600 megahertz Qualcomm CPU. Again, that one also is something we saw a couple of years ago on Android phones, but now we're looking mostly at 1 gigahertz single-core CPUs or sometimes dual-core CPUs. This is not a slow phone, though. It opens up the apps quickly, it scrolls through, it can run HTC Sense, the latest version of their software here with all the nice UI enhancements, just fine, but one drawback is that this does not come with the Adobe Flash Player, and it's not available for download because it is probably not smart enough to actually run Adobe Flash. This has 3G HSDPA, not HSPA, it's HSDPA, 5.76 megabit per second, so you're not looking at a lightning fast download speed, but honestly we have pretty good reception here on T-Mobile and pretty good service, and we weren't exactly suffering downloading even fairly large size apps from the Android market. But if you're buying a phone and you're looking to use it as a Wi-Fi hotspot, which this can do, bear in mind you're not going to get as fast a connection from this as from a more expensive phone that has HSPA plus 4G. This also has Wi-Fi calling, which is nice. You can turn on Wi-Fi calling and use your Wi-Fi hotspot instead of your cellular network to make phone calls, and that costs you nothing if you're calling domestically. We'll take a look around the phone. You can see large earpiece here. Voice quality is pretty good on this. Reception is about average on it as well. We've got the standard Android capacitive buttons here, and a little HTC chin, a little bit of a curved look going over here. Nothing on this side. Kind of a nice pearly plastic. Power buttons up here. This is a little grab spot where you pull the back off. 3.5 millimeter stereo jack. On this side we have the volume control rocker and the micro USB port, and there's a 5 megapixel camera on the back with an LED flash, and it actually takes pretty good photos. And if we pull off the back, it's one of them yank off kind of backs. Takes some force, but it's not nearly as difficult as the HTC Status, for example, to get off. You can see here's the 1320 milliamp battery, and here is your micro SD card slot, and a 2 gig card is included. That's good. You're going to need that card because there's only 512 megs of RAM and 512 megs of storage on this phone. Not a lot of built-in storage. And this just slides back into the chin, you can see right here. It's an interesting design. And then snaps back in. It's available in white, and it's also available in gray. I believe gray is available online for the special price of free with contract. In terms of software, there's not too much from T-Mobile on here, but we have the usual HTC Sense software, including HTC Hub, where you can download new themes and wallpapers and stuff, FriendStream for social networking. We've got Double Twist Sync for syncing media to the phone over USB. And we have an FM radio as well from HTC. Peep for more social networking goodness. And we have all the standard Google stuff on here, the YouTube player, maps, navigation, Gmail, email, the WebKit web browser, Latitude, news, voice search, Google search, all that good stuff is on here. In terms of T-Mobile extra software, there's not too much. There's T-Mobile Mall, there's visual voicemail, and 411 on more on here. This does not have T-Mobile TV because it's only a 3G phone. The phone runs Android OS 2.3.3, which is Gingerbread, and is HTC Sense 2.1, though it looks a lot like 3.0, and a couple of the features are missing. Like if you do the quick spin here, you won't see the 3D carousel start up to show you all of your multiple home screens. Obviously it supports multiple home screens like all Android phones, and we've got some widgets running here like weather going, and here's your wireless control, which is handy for quickly controlling wireless. You can also go to quick settings. You swipe down and you switch to the quick setting tabs, and you can also access all of your wireless radios here, which is very handy. The usual HTC big flip clock with the embedded weather on it. Google search here. And of course you can add or remove these widgets as you see fit. Music player over here. Typical expandable, extendable Android experience. Now the lock screen on this doesn't have that neat drag to ring feature you can see here, which means dragging an application to the unlock ring to launch it without unlocking the phone. And strangely with this one you have to drag down to unlock. Most HTC phones you drag up. I'll show you what I mean on our Sensation. So here's the lock screen here, and here are my 4 drag tos. So I can launch the phone just by dragging it to the ring, or I can launch the camera, for example, just by dragging it down there. And I also get things like options for putting weather and other stuff on my lock screen. And HTC also does things like enhance contacts and provide linking between your various social networks and contacts, and they have a nice little messaging application. Let's take a look here. Here's the messages application, and got a basic service message here, and here's the interface, and here's where you would type. And we'll take a look at the keyboard, because being a 3.2-inch display, you've got a smaller keyboard than you do on today's big screen phones. So you can see it's not bad, but those of you with big fingers probably will have a little bit of trouble with it. And you can switch to landscape mode to get it more spread out, but the keys themselves are really not so much bigger. Swipe is also here as an option. And if we take a look at contacts, you get a listing of all the people, and if there's a photograph, it'll show up in the list of the contact. And this is what the contacts look like, a little bit more spiffy than your standard Android version. And you have quick links here to do things like email them and stuff like that, send text message. And we've got the standard Android web browser on here. Again, no flash playback, however. And we'll visit our own website. And the phone is typically a little bit quicker than this, but we just had an earthquake in Washington, D.C. today, and the internet is being slowed down a little bit because of that right now, we're told. So there it is. If you pinch and zoom in, pinch and zoom out, you can see it's reasonably responsive, but not super duper fluid. Tap to zoom in and out as well, and it reflows the text, which is very nice, keeps it readable. So it's certainly a usable browser. And now we'll check out YouTube Playback using the YouTube mobile format player. And we're doing this over T-Mobile's 3G network. So we'll just pick a video that's featured here.
I'm not very good at singing songs, but here's a try.
So there you have it, YouTube Playback. Again, not bad. And we're doing this over 3G, not over Wi-Fi. Speaker volume. This is maximum right now. And the speaker fires out the back. right here.
Might emerge somewhere else in space. Somewhere else in time.
Not a bad speaker for a relatively affordable phone. So that's the HTC Wildfire S for T-Mobile in the United States. It's a very affordable Android phone. It's a good starter phone, and it's a good phone for those of you who are looking for something that's quite pocketable, and not to mention affordable. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review. Visit our website for the full review.